September 10, 1898. Lake Geneva, Switzerland. An empress is walking toward a steamship. She's wearing black. Her hair is pinned up. She carries a parasol to shield herself from the sun. She's 60 years old. She's beautiful. She looks like she's 30. But someone is watching her. A man with a sharpened file wrapped in his pocket. He's been waiting for hours. He doesn't know who she is. He walks up behind her. He stabs her in the chest. Once. Twice. Then he runs. The empress falls to the ground. Her ladies rush to her side. She whispers, "What happened to me?" She stands up. She walks to the boat. She walks to her cabin. She loosens her dress. And then, she dies. The assassin is caught. He is brought to trial. And when they ask him why he killed the Empress of Austria, he says, "I am an anarchist. I didn't know she was an empress. I just wanted to kill a rich person." How did the most beautiful empress in Europe meet such a pointless end? How did a life of palaces, luxury, and power become a prison? And what does a needle have to do with any of this? This is the story of Empress Sisi. The needle, the obsession, and the assassin. Elisabeth Amalie Eugenie was born on Christmas Eve, 1837. She was a Bavarian princess, a wild, free-spirited girl who hated rules and loved horses. Her nickname was Sisi. She wasn't supposed to be an empress. She wasn't supposed to be anyone important. But in 1853, fate intervened. Her older sister, Helene, was supposed to marry the young Emperor Franz Joseph I. Helene was the one who was carefully trained. She was the one who was polished and primed for the throne. But then Franz Joseph saw Sisi. He fell in love with her. At 16, she became Empress of Austria. And she was miserable. The Austrian court was cold, rigid, and cruel. Her husband's mother, Archduchess Sophie, was the real power in the palace. She despised Sisi. Sophie controlled everything. She controlled the household, the politics, and the children. Sophie took Sisi's babies away from her. She raised them herself. She called Sisi a stupid, silly mother. Sisi was trapped in a cage of gold. She had no power, no freedom, no control over her own life. But there was one thing she could control: her body. Sisi developed a terrifying obsession. She would starve herself to stay thin. She would exercise for hours. She would sleep on a wooden board because she believed soft beds made her gain weight. Her waist measurement was 16 inches, the size of a child's waist. She had the smallest waist in Europe. But it came at a cost. She fainted regularly. She had chronic hunger pains. She ate almost nothing, just milk, eggs, and oranges. This was the needle. The needle is the sewing of the corset. The needle is the tightening of the waist. The needle is the pain she endured to be perfect. She was a prisoner of her own body, and she was celebrated for it. Sisi's obsession with her appearance wasn't vanity. It was survival. In a world where she had no power, her beauty was her only currency. If she stayed beautiful, she stayed relevant. If she aged, she would be forgotten. She became famous for her beauty. People called her the most beautiful empress in Europe. She was photographed, painted, and adored. But she hated it. She hated the attention. She hated the pressure. She hated herself. She escaped whenever she could. She traveled constantly. She rode horses obsessively. She wrote poetry. She refused to attend court functions. Then came the greatest tragedy of her life. Her only son, Crown Prince Rudolf, was deeply unhappy. He was forced into a loveless marriage. He felt trapped and desperate. In 1889, Rudolf shot his 17-year-old mistress, and then himself at the Mayerling hunting lodge. The scandal tore Sisi apart. She blamed herself. She blamed the court. She blamed everyone. She went into permanent mourning. She wore only black. She traveled even more. She wanted to disappear from the world. But the world would not let her disappear. In 1898, she was in Geneva, Switzerland. She was traveling incognito, using a false name. She was supposed to leave on the steamship Geneva. But someone was waiting for her. His name was Luigi Lucheni. He was an Italian anarchist. He was 25 years old. He was poor, angry, and radicalized. He had come to Geneva with one goal: to kill someone rich and famous. On September 10, 1898, Lucheni saw a well-dressed woman walking toward the lake. He didn't know she was an empress. He just saw wealth. He approached her from behind. He had a sharpened file, not even a proper knife, hidden in his pocket. He stabbed her once in the chest. She turned. He stabbed her again. Then he ran. Sisi fell to the ground. Her ladies screamed. But she stood up. She walked to the steamship. She walked to her cabin. She loosened her dress. When she loosened her dress, the blood finally flowed. The corset had held the wound closed, keeping her alive just long enough to walk onto the ship. She collapsed. Her final words were, "What happened to me?" She was 60 years old. Lucheni was caught within minutes. He was tried and convicted. He never showed remorse. When asked why he killed the empress, he said, "I am an anarchist. I didn't know she was an empress. I just wanted to kill a rich person." Empress Elisabeth of Austria was buried in the imperial crypt in Vienna, next to her son, Crown Prince Rudolf. She escaped the cage. But only in death. She was a woman who was celebrated for her beauty and punished for her humanity. She was trapped by her own image. She was destroyed by a world that refused to see her as anything other than a portrait. The needle, the obsession, and the assassin. Sisi's story is a warning. A warning about the prison of perfection. A warning about the poison of obsession. And a warning that sometimes, the most beautiful cages are the hardest to escape.